are young enough to play their part in the next Olympic cycle, not only what happens in London. So we come to our final race before we have a little civilized luncheon, and it is the final of the women's lightweight double sculls. And looking at the lineup here, the women's lightweight double sculls, right on the far side was the United States of America, China, Zhu Zhongjiang and Huang Wen Yi, and in lane number 3, the star performers, Christina Giazitζίδου and also her partner Alexandra Tshiavu. Real tough competitors. Lane 4, Louise Ayling and Julia Edward, who earlier in the regatta on Friday smashed the world best time with a 6:49.43. Excellent performance by those two, which puts them right in the mix. And then it's Anne-Log Thompson and Julian Rasmussen, who really struck up a good partnership. And closest to you, Sophie Hoskins and Catherine Copeland for Great Britain. And remember, these women also being lightweights, average 57 kilos for the boat, individually no more than 59 kilos. They weighed in a couple of hours ago. The world champions, Greece, with Gianni Postiglione, the main man. What a job he's done. We said at every regatta with the Greeks under difficult financial situation, as you can all imagine. But they're the crew to beat. But right next to them, the holders of the new world best time. Louise Ayling from Invercargill, Julia Edward in the stroke seat from Rotorua.
And that's the New Zealand double, because they used to race with Lucy Strack.
Yep.
And it was Julia Edward, who used to be her partner in the under-23s, where they won a silver. And Lucy got booted out. Julia Edward came in, and right now, immediately, they raced a world record.
Yeah, I think I'd put it a bit nicer than that. I'd say earned her place. But there we go off with Christina Giazitζίδου and Alexandra Tshiavu. Tshiavu in the stroke seat, the experience, she's 26. Giazitζίδου, 5 years her junior, but these two are a force. They were bronze medalists and European champions in 2010, and they went all the way last season, winning in Bled decisively. They were terrific under-23 performers as well, and they've just kept the whole thing going.
Yeah, you can see their technique involves a lot of backswing. You could call it a Canadian style. In this case, it would be the Greek style, but they use a lot of backswing, especially from the start. And you can see it in the picture. The yellow bibs of the Greeks, you can see their backs, bam, they have an extra little push in the back of the stroke. Right now, China leading, though, about a canvas ahead of New Zealand, Louise Ayling and Julia Edward, and then it's the Greeks, Christina Giazitζίδου and Alexandra Tshiavu. And China is always a mysterious force when it comes to women's rowing, when it comes to rowing in particular. I mean, they have so much potential in China, and sometimes they perform, sometimes they don't perform. But this lightweight double might be one of the secret ingredients to a successful lightweight women's double soup.
So China, the actual experience actually comes from Zhu Zhongjiang, who's in the bow of that boat, who was a gold medalist in 2006 at Eton, so on the Olympic regatta course. It's quite interesting, actually, because she just seems to pop out for the Olympics. She was 5th in Athens, 5th in Beijing, and now here we are in the Olympic year, and suddenly she's back on the scene, and Huang Wenli is 8 years her junior, so it's the woman in the bow who's bringing all the experience. But here are the New Zealanders. Louise Ayling, who's 24, she's in the on the right of your picture there, sitting in front of her Julia Edward, who's just 21 years of age, bronze medal last season in the under-23 lightweight double sculls.
And they're not quite together. You can see there's a little bit difference between the oars, the angle they get at the finish. So they're not really efficient.
And here, Denmark, on the right of your picture there, Anne-Log Thompson. Now, a 4-time world marathon canoe champion who realized that when canoeing changed the distances, and the women race over 500 metres. There are no 1,000-metre races. She decided to do the switch. And she was sent an email by Julian Rasmussen, because the Danish canoeists and rowers train at exactly the same place. I'm looking for a partner. They join together, and boy, is it working. And Anne-Lock Thompson now, one of the strongest on an ergometer, and it's really paying off for them as they come to the half distance.
Yes, last year they were, the Danish were the 8th in the world, just qualifying for the Olympics, just squeaking before the Dutch. And right now they're in the final, so that's a good performance. China really putting on an incredible, impressive row so far.
Yes, it's difficult to fathom how the Chinese work out their preparations. It's as exciting as mysterious. But look at the two. You see the taller youngster, Wen Yi Huang, in the stroke seat there, and the head there of Zhu just looking left, looking right. Of course, she's got the United States on the far side. We haven't mentioned them. Christian Hedstrom and Julie Nichols, experienced. They were just off the medals last year in 4th place in Bled. And they're right on the far side. Then you've got the Chinese. Then you've got the Greeks, who have now got a move in this third quarter. The New Zealand world best time record holders are in 3rd place, vying actually for 2nd place now with the United States. 2 from the bottom of your picture, Denmark, and closest to you are Great Britain.
But this is actually the first final of the day where the field at the 1,000-meter mark after 1,250 meters actually is still together. There's just China in front by a boat length, and behind that it's still very close for the 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th places.
Well, the Greeks actually also beat the old world best time as well on Friday. They went 6:49.46 for their time. 6:49.43 was the time of the New Zealanders, but it was really strong tailwind conditions, and China have really thrown the gauntlet down now. But you can see New Zealand now looking better than we've seen them at any previous point in the race. And are the Greeks going to produce this storming finish? Remember what we said right at the beginning of this morning's racing. Everybody has their plan looking towards London, but I'm concerned that they're that far off, the Greeks.
Yeah, they might have been training very hard up until the start of this regatta, so they might not be in the best of shape. A little bit tired, maybe a little bit problems with their weight, because that can happen. I mean, if you're too heavy right from the start before the weigh-in, you have a problem. Then you're not in peak form. So it might not say anything, but at the same time, you're right. It's a little bit troubling.
China, as we went into the last quarter, leading from New Zealand. United States 3rd, Great Britain in 4th place, Denmark in 5th, and actually Greece in 6th place. So the chips are down with 1 quarter to go, less than that now.
Yeah, but just 4 seconds between the leader and the number 6, so there's still a lot can happen. And it looks like USA just raised the rate and tries to challenge New Zealand, and it's Greece now coming back into the picture.
Yeah, Greece now beginning to move up from where they were into a definite 4th place now, and you can see New Zealand on the near side in black, 2 away from you. That's Greece. China still leading, and that little push from the Americans hasn't worked now, and it's all about what Greece can do in the last 100 meters, and they are flying now. Tsitsido and Siobu, they've got the overlap. They're almost now got the deficit down to half a boat length. So they really have got some speed. New Zealand being overhauled.
Yeah, New Zealand actually pushing, trying to get back on China, and it looks like New Zealand is doing just that.
And here it comes now, Louise Ayling and Julia Edward right in front of you. Closest to you, New Zealand, then Greece, then on the far side, China. It's a sprint in the last 200 metres. China hanging on, and China have just got there ahead of New Zealand. Greece a 3rd, but that could be all different next time around.
That was undoubtedly, that was one of the best races so far, what we've seen. Certainly one of the most exciting races.
And it'll be interesting to see how the Chinese obviously delighted, but how the Greeks actually look at that race, because did they leave it a little bit too late to make their move?
I think so. I think they left it way too late. They had a lousy start. Maybe you could say, yeah, you can say a lousy start.
Uncharacteristically,
yeah. Because they can do so much more. But it remains to be seen if they were working towards this regatta, or if they were just training through it, working towards Munich perhaps, or at least London 2012. China, very impressive stuff. New Zealand,
yeah, just to confirm, China from New Zealand, Greece in third, United States fourth, Great Britain fifth, and Denmark in sixth place. But if you have a look at the whole field, 3.87 seconds covering the whole field. That's all.
And I think there's room for improvement in the New Zealand squad. I didn't like their rowing as much. It wasn't as together as you can be. So I'm going to watch out for them. Right now in your picture, Julia Edward in the stroke seat, Louise Ayling in the bow seat. I think there's room for improvement there. You can just see the difference between the angles.
And also another crew who we haven't mentioned, but they were second in the B final earlier on today, Lindsay Jenrick and Tracy Cameron.
Not to mention Australia.
Yeah, Bronwyn Watson and Hannah Every Hall, they finished third. They were beaten by another Chinese crew, who actually, China 2, Liu and Pan, who actually won the B final. So you can see that China are going to be a force in this particular boat class for sure. But this was impressive that they had the strength to actually hold off the charge. But both of those crews, New Zealand and Greece, I think are going to take, although they haven't won today, they're going to take positives out of this.
Certainly.
So there is the confirmation. You can see pretty small spread amongst the 6 crews. Very, very good race, which takes us to the lunch